We're back.
Word. Okay, so next movie. Let's talk about The Tomorrow War. Amazon's Tomorrow War. Directed by Chris McKay and main cast Chris Pratt, Yvonne Strahovski, J.K. Simmons, and Betty Gilpin. This movie was nuts, but before I go into it, what did you think about it?
I too thought this movie was fucking nuts. It was bananas. Because it did not know, it felt like two movies smashed together.
It did. It really did. I don't. It was like they hit the. It was a movie that had its own DLC, man.
It definitely, yeah, definitely. Like it kind of felt like it could have ended, but they're like, no, we still have all this budget we have to get rid of.
Yep.
Um,
It's like we bought all these pyrotechnics. We haven't blown them up yet. Please let's do more explosions.
yeah. And the plot is it's so fucking stupid that, well, it's like, okay, I'll say this. I've never seen a movie with, like, that took all of it. It's very original. I've never.
Yeah.
It's original, but at the same time, it's unoriginal. It's like
Yeah.
it takes
It
everything.
feels
and
like
kinda
it feels
twists
like a bunch of movies smashed together. Like it feels like a little bit of Edge of Tomorrow
Yeah,
mixed with like Alien,
yeah.
mixed with like a couple other things. But what were you saying?
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Oh, sorry. But yeah, it honestly felt like a whole bunch of different movies smashed together, and Chris Pratt was just Chris Pratt the entire movie.
Yep.
He really didn't feel like he was a different. He felt like he could have been the dude from Jurassic Park, or maybe a little bit of Star Lord at times.
Yeah,
But
he kind of phoned it in. His acting was kind of like not even really trying, are you?
yeah, like at
Like
that.
it wasn't like Mark Wahlberg
Right,
levels of
yeah.
not giving a fuck, but it was still pretty
He
not
wasn't
even trying.
he wasn't a scientist from Austin, Texas, or Boston, Massachusetts, or Austin,
Yeah.
Massachusetts, whichever. Anyway, um,
Yeah,
that
it was like I felt like honestly like so like this is going forward in the movie, but like there's a scene where like he meets his daughter in the future,
yeah.
um, played by Yvonne Strahovski, and she was acting circles around him, and it was just like, are you even gonna try, Chris Pratt?
Well, they had a couple of good, like pretty much any good scenes were just them together,
Yeah,
and maybe J.K. Simmons, but hold on, let me think. Isn't it? Yeah, J.K. Simmons.
yeah, J.K. Simmons, yeah.
But other than that, there really wasn't anything that had like what I would call a whole lot of depth to to any of the characters.
He
Like,
explains that he's going to like. So there's the scene early in the movie where like he's talking to the now young version of his daughter, and he's explaining that he has to go fight in a war where there's like a less than 30% survival rate. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to the store to get smokes." Like it was the most like anticlimactic way to explain he's going to fight in like a war that like basically no one survived in.
and
Uh,
yeah, and then like at the same time, it's like they kind of okay, so they kind of imply sort of, or it seems like everything's not what it's supposed to be. Like something's not obviously not right about like these people that are coming back in time to recruit
yeah,
these people for this war.
yeah. So like yeah, and like just for people who haven't seen the movie, the basic premise is that like people come back from the future into the past to recruit people to go fight in a war in the future uh to save humanity from an alien threat. um why people would go forward in the future to fight aliens rather than just trying to fight them in their own timeline, I'm still not entirely sure about. That's kind of one of those like plot holes that like you just kind of have to kind of turn your brain off and kind of ignore. in the movie, but
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Oh my god. Yeah. Now that you bring that up, it's like, why wouldn't the rest of mankind? Well, wait. Okay. I think the idea is they can't live in two different timelines because it creates like a
Yeah,
continuity
yeah.
type error.
You can't send. So they were pretty consistent with their time travel rules in this movie, which was at least nice because that can be a stumbling block for many. But yeah, essentially is like you can't exist in two places at once in time, so they can only bring forward in time people who are already dead. Although most of the population of the planet was dead, so they probably could have brought forward like everybody. But uh, you can only send back people who weren't alive yet. So they can't be a refugee situation. Like you can't send back people because eventually those people are going to be alive.
Yeah, because
Um,
they can't. Okay, so yeah, that's right. They because a lot of the since most of the human population is dead, they can exist in that time. In which,
mhm.
yeah, yeah, you went
But like the thing that didn't make any sense about it is like why send forward people at all? Like this isn't their problem. I mean, it's their problem, but like it'd be like one of those things where we're like, well, this is time travel, right? So like, why don't we just try to fight the aliens in our own time? But I guess that was deemed that like it wasn't worth trying.
well,
Um,
um,
because like the future, because basically how the movie operates is it's basically two separate timelines.
yeah,
Um, Get the timeline of the future. That's everything's all fucked up. There's only like less than 1 million people alive on the planet, which is like mind blowing. And then you have the past, which the nothing has even popped off yet. So you still have like 7 billion people. So it's like, why wouldn't the 7 billion people just be like, "Fuck you, we'll figure it out on our own," rather than relying on the future for anything? But the future somehow convinced them to just send people forward into a meat grinder
yeah.
because maybe they'd get some advanced intel on the
They,
aliens
they
before it
never.
happened.
Well, yeah, they never actually explain. They literally just said like the world decided we're gonna have a draft, and that's
Yeah,
literally how they go over like the politics of the situation.
but like you're sending people forward into basically an unwinnable situation. It's like you're sending people forward. The aliens use humans as food, right? So
Yes, yeah.
you're sending just more food in. Like no, like they're not even bothering to train these people before they send them out. Like how is this going to turn out well? Um,
Right. I mean, well,
like the future's basically already lost at this point. Like why are you bothering? I don't know. I mean, maybe it was because they want to hold out hope that they won't go through the same thing, but like they should be researching the aliens in their own time. Then you know what I mean? Like the fact that at the end of the movie it takes like basically a bunch of school children to figure out like where the aliens are and get there before any of the shit pops off was like just one of the most egregious sins of the movie. It was like no one thought of this before, really. It takes a wife
yes,
and a school child to figure out where the aliens were in the past and that they were already on the planet thanks to global warming.
yeah, yeah, yes, yeah. It felt very like pieced. Everything felt very pieced together.
Yep.
Well,
It was
yeah.
just very convenient. Everything was like, oh, that's convenient.
Well,
Oh,
you
okay.
know what? I'm a science teacher. Is you know, might as well just fucking
Ask that one smart kid in the class who
yeah.
basically
Ask
solves the
the
whole alien problem.
yeah, and there's like nothing in the movie that implies that that one kid is good about volcanoes, is there? Like,
Yeah, he talks about it at the beginning. That's his favorite subject.
so to be
But
fair,
it was like how did no one in the future figure out anything about the aliens before?
well,
Like it
they didn't have the volcano kid.
apparently. God damn.
That solved
But
everything.
yeah, so I liked this movie. I found it enjoyable. Um it was just a little crazy. Like let's start off at the beginning. So like uh yeah, they teleport people into the future basically without training them. The central thesis is like they won't even show what the aliens look like in the past, so people would be willing to go because the aliens were scary. Um, and honestly, That might have been the right move because like the I really like the creature design of the movie. The aliens were legit scary. It was a cool little design. They look like basically like dogs that shot spikes that were like fucking the size of like 3 people. Very cool alien design. But yeah, it was just like they set people forward into the future. Um, Someone decided that they needed to have a cool set piece where people were falling from the sky, even though that was like, well, I guess everything is shit in the future because like if you can't even teleport your people into the right spot, like why are you even bother bringing people forward?
Well,
Because basically,
yeah, I mean, I think the other thing too is like they kind of just breeze over the idea of, oh, why don't you pick your own timeline? And it's like, well, basically the whole teleportation thing is pieced together by like, bubblegum,
gum and shoestring,
like
yeah.
literally like from like almost line for line for what
That
they
was that
said.
was exactly what they said, yeah.
Yeah, it was just like, okay, so what you're saying is this whole thing. So the government, the U.S. government, agreed to this. The world government agreed to like all this fuckery.
I mean, I guess in the future there really isn't a government left. Like, there's 500,000 people. That's the size of like a town. The aliens have won. Like, it seems so silly. Like we're gonna send people forward to fight this. Where like the aliens have basically already won.
Well, yeah,
But
and and,
sure, go
and that,
ahead.
that plot point itself kind of like shits its pants by the end of the movie too. If you really
Yeah.
think about it. But yeah. So you forgot the part where like the dad, Chris Pratt. Like, remember, like when he gets like drafted or whatever.
Yeah.
Uh, he has like prior military service, and he gets selected for the draft. Um, and I just remembered the part where like they're like, oh well, when do I die? And they're like, well, we can't tell you. And it's like, oh, okay. Because it would change, whatever the timeline.
Hmm.
Um,
But they've already changed it by going back. So it's
and,
like
and,
how do
and like, well, wasn't it like he didn't necessarily even get like notified that he was getting drafted? He just kind of showed up at a building, and they're like, oh yeah, you're going to the war.
Yep.
And he kind of got forced into, like, he didn't even get like anything in the mail saying like, oh yeah, you're going to the draft. It made it seem super
I think there was
shady.
something I think there
There,
was
there's
something they sent to his wife,
there's a
and he
reason.
decided to go instead of his wife.
Was that really it?
I think so. I'm
Uh,
trying to remember.
there was a reason. Like, the problem is that at this point in the movie, when I was watching it, I was like doing other things around the house. So
Mhm.
like at times I was getting like sort of like sidetracked in exactly like what was going on, and I had to keep coming back to it. So anyway, like I remember like he was the teacher, and then he goes, and then they like shove his arm into a thing, and then they put like the time bracelet on him, and it like tells him like how long he has to be in that timeline.
In the
Which,
future, yeah.
yeah,
Time bracelet tells you how long you're going to be in the future, which they send you for a week. So it's like this is really effective engagement. Like not a month. It's not a month of service. It's a week. You spend a week in the future. Like it's nuts.
yeah, that is nuts. It's super dumb too, because it's like you're
Like
fighting
what
a
are you going to get
war.
done in a week? Yeah.
You're fighting a war, and you can only be there for a week. And it's like, oh yeah, those good people that we had, we had to train them. Oh no, we don't. Throw these meat shields at the aliens.
Basically, and hope they survive for a week. It was nuts. Like don't even bother training them. Don't even drop them out of the sky in the right place.
Well,
Like drop them out of
yeah,
drop them in like basically like 300 feet up and hope they land in a pool, which is what happened in the movie. If you didn't think that was dumb,
yeah, no,
uh,
yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, they like, I can't believe it was like there was like the one cool scene that they had in the movie was like, yeah, that of course they fall out of the sky or whatever because of how shitty the stupid time traveling machine is made. Which I can't. I'm still like trying to get out. Like, I still have a hard time like thinking about how like that was like the government's like, yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, yeah,
Oh
no,
yeah, and
just
they pay out $1 million if you die. So it's like, how much money do they have saved up? Because they're basically killing everybody out here.
yeah,
Like,
pretty
geez,
much.
you guys must have like a couple like $1,000 billion.
Yeah, for real.
Like, because if you're killing off like 99% of the people you send, then giving them $1 million per death, goddamn.
Yeah, and not only that, but like just the stupid like the scene where of course when they fall and then like half of them miss the building itself, like
Oh
more than
god.
half of them, and so there's like literally only a handful of survivors. That like there was like a room full of people, but like maybe 10 of them like actually like most of them died just trying to get it like to the place that they were getting to. They
Yeah.
didn't even die to the aliens. Um,
Nope.
they died
Just
falling from building height into like flames or some shit for
they just went splat. Yeah, it was that whole thing was a fucking mess.
yeah. Uh,
Um, like I guess like you could make an analogy to like like World War II and like D-Day and sending people into machine gun fire, but like it wasn't even a fuck up of like you're fighting the enemy. Like they just fucking like landed them wrong.
yeah, I mean, I just that was the whole thing. My whole issue with the movie was like, for the most part, it was like how shitty they did things. It was like, oh yeah, we're not gonna train them to fight. We're not even gonna show them how to shoot a gun. We're just gonna be like, all right, get in this room. You got a week. Go. You're gonna go over there to fight. All right, good luck, guys. Bye bye. And then
Yeah,
drop them in like the wrong spot where they die. And the only training that they had was like, oh yeah, this is where you want to shoot them, and that's it.
yep, yeah.
I
It was a
can't
shit show.
believe it. Yeah, it was
It
bullshit.
was it was a shit show. It was an utter shit show. Like none of the military logistics in this movie make any sense, just at
Yeah,
all. And I agree. I get that there's barely a military left, but I mean, do better. This was sad. This was nuts.
yeah, it was
Uh,
over. It was super crazy.
yeah, it was beyond the pale of belief that this would make sense. Like
But
this does.
by the way, who the hell watches soccer on Christmas? Like Christmas time. Watch
Is
soccer
there a
game?
soccer? Yeah, is there
Yeah,
soccer games on Christmas? Like
that's
I
what
didn't understand. Yeah,
that's what they're like. It kind of implied that it was like a Christmas party. Didn't necessarily say when. It
yeah,
was
because
just like
she made a Santa. Yeah, I didn't understand that at all.
yeah, and
But doesn't soccer normally take place in like the summer? Like I
yeah,
don't.
it just didn't seem like it made much sense to like, oh yeah, no, this. It just seemed like it was a little off, like the whole thing. And they're like, oh yeah, come over to the Christmas party and let's watch soccer. Like it seemed like something that it just seemed like very un-American like type situation. I don't know. Maybe
It was
I'm just
weird.
being a little strange, but
It
um,
was weird. Yeah. But so let's keep going. So they land in the pool. Well, the survivors just do anyway.
yeah.
Not that landing in a pool would really save you from how high up they fell out of the air.
Oh no.
Uh, it was like pool's what, like 10 foot deep at most. Come on
I
now.
think somebody even lands on Chris Pratt inside of the pool.
Yeah,
And that should have like probably knocked the wind out of him, if not
should have
like
broken
put him
something.
unconscious.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That
like
was dumb.
feet first
Not to
into his
mention the pool is
chest.
yeah. Not to mention the pool is clean. Like it's Miami that's been like fucking bombed out and fucking alien infested, but yeah, sure, we'll land in a clean pool.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, hey, I mean, when you're rich, you're rich. You know what I mean?
Yep,
You avoid all the
self cleaning,
bullshit.
self cleaning pool.
Yeah.
But yeah. So they land. Some people land, not most of them. They go downstairs. Apparently the research facility that they need to save is like a building or two away. So they have to go out on the street. Don't encounter the aliens out on the street for the first bit of the movie. That was pretty cool. It was a cool way to build up tension till you actually saw the aliens. They get up to the building. All the people are dead. I don't really understand why they were like strung up. because like the aliens don't seem to do that again during the later parts of the movie, but it is what it is.
Were they like crucified or something?
They were like strung up on the walls, like kind of like as if the aliens emitted some type of like rope, but the aliens never did that later on. So I'm like, I don't understand how they did that.
That's true. I mean, like besides their spiky ammo that they have.
Yeah. It didn't really make like the aliens aren't spiders, like they don't have spider webs, but it looked like they had used spider webs or something. Sure, that part didn't make sense, but whatever. The crew is dead. They go get the hard drives and the stuff they need to, like the toxin, and then they try to book it, and then they start sealing the aliens on their way out. Aliens are really cool looking. They start shooting spikes. That scene in the hallway where they're like trying to, they're basically they're on the stairwell,
Yeah.
and they're on like the 40th floor, and they have to get down to the basement and like out of the building before it gets blown up. That was really cool. Where the aliens were like chasing them down the stairwell.
Yes.
The movie it definitely ran on like movie time, considering that they said, "Oh yeah, the building's getting bombed in like 60 seconds," and it's like 5 minutes later, the building still hasn't been bombed.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was cool. The thing about it is like there are other things that didn't make sense about it. Is that Chris Pratt was a trained special forces guy.
That's true.
Yet he goes back for the fat guy that fell and broke his ankle.
The one guy when everybody's about to escape and like get out, and then they're like, "We can't leave him behind," even though he like fell like a foot like below him, and
I know it felt like 20. He felt like 20 feet below him. There was like a separate like sewerway.
Yeah, it was pretty high up. Yeah.
Yeah, like the guy he's a trained special forces operative. He should know that like sometimes you can't go back and save everybody. But no, he goes back and saves the one guy that doesn't make it out anyway, and then gets more people killed.
Yes, yeah, because he tries to save that one guy. Some jobber, other military guy who's like been on 3 deployments, who's not like who has no like implied, special forces training whatsoever. He's just like another military dude. He's just like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, stop trying to save people. You're gonna get them killed, or you're just gonna get yourself killed or something. And which is exactly what happens.
Which is exactly what happened. Yeah. So it's just like, bro, like you should have. You should have realized. Yeah, he should have realized that he wasn't going to save that guy.
I don't understand that foreshadowing if it had no meaning. Where they're just like, oh yeah, no, this whole situation's fucked, and it seems corrupt from the inside out. Like it just sort of made me not like the military, and you know what I mean. It just made it seem like there was something like why was the military fucking up so hard?
Yeah, you were constantly wondering why the future military was so shit at their jobs, but
yeah,
I guess they were just shit at their jobs. Like
I was waiting for there to be a twist, like, oh yeah, they're actually evil, and I'm like, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. But the like, oh yeah, actually Soylent Green is people. And it's like, oh, okay, but no, there was never a moment like that.
Nope, they were just bad at their job.
They're just fucking shitheads.
Yep.
And also, I love the fact that they had like clearly hired a bunch of like character actors in this movie, like besides like Chris Pratt and like maybe like obviously the daughter and the mom. I would say like anybody from the immediate family. Oh, yeah, and like J.K. Simmons when he's in it for like 5 seconds. Basically, like those people. God damn it! Like a lot of the other people that like die or like main characters are primarily known as character actors.
Yeah, it was funny. Like the woman who shows up in like a suit. And is like fucking laying down like AR fire before she dies.
And she's like, she's the lady from The Office, I think.
Yeah, she's some like comedian or something. I think.
And then the other guy like she's defending is like he's just some jobber. He's like some dude like who clearly shouldn't be in the war, and like he just
Yeah, he was out of
dies.
shape. Oh yeah,
He's the guy who falls and basically gets
yeah.
other people killed. And
Yep.
even he's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing this? You need to
Yeah,
go.
like you can't save me, bro.
It's like, we're
Go.
gonna
Yeah.
save you. And it's like, no, you're not gonna save me. And then he gets the other lady killed. And she's like, go! And then, like, there's a slow motion scene where, like, they're
Oh yeah.
firing.
Gonna have the stereotypical cool slow motion.
It just really seemed like an excuse to have, like, slow motion and explosions. I
Yep.
feel like that was it. I feel like that was like, we need more action. Alright.
Yeah, gotta get up that pyrotechnics budget.
You got the lady from The Office? Give her a ring.
Yep. Give her a rifle. Let her go to town.
Let's do it. It's
Yeah.
and then, then I think it was like after that, then they kind of like wind up on the military base.
Yep. After they all get blown up. Yep. Yeah. So he gets to the military base. He finds out that the woman leading this mission is his daughter. That was kind of cool, I guess. It was kind of a cool reveal. It's definitely the first kind of like, oh, that's an interesting choice to make in the movie. Like I was like, oh, okay, so this is kind of neat. Yvonne Strahovski's a good actor. She did her role well there.
She's a good actor.
What's it called? I was a little like, what the hell is her plan here? Because there's barely a human race left,
Right.
and she wants to what?
She's literally their John Connor. She's the leader of the resistance.
Basically, yeah. And she wouldn't tell him the plan because she was like, it's need to know, and you don't need to know right now.
Yeah,
and the plan. Yeah, what were you gonna say? I'm sorry. You can go for.
That's the whole fucking crux of the movie. Is like, you don't get to know because it's if you knew, you'd think it's so stupid that you would stop caring about the movie.
Well, because because it breaks the movie apart.
Yeah. If you knew
and
ahead of time.
If you knew what the plan was ahead of time, because essentially her plan was, yeah, we're fucked. Like there isn't a plan. We can't save the rest of the human race here. Like we can only save the earlier timeline. And it was just like, well, you couldn't have just said that. But like, if she said that, like
it would have made you realize that all those fucking jobbers that went to the future were for goddamn nothing.
Yeah, and like they'd been sending jobbers for what, like 3 years or 2 years?
Yeah, it had yes, exactly. It had been like years into the future that they're like like sending all these people to die, knowing that it was like completely pointless.
Yeah. So what? Like that just seems stupid. And it's like yeah, so her plan was like, well, we're fucked. Like, let's just send the vaccine, or not a vaccine, the super toxin back in time. But first they have to. Yeah, what were you saying?
You have to remember that at this time, this is when like there's a few things that happen. Like one, it brings up the fact of him like when he dies again. Mm-hmm. And then it also like. Then they go over like how they have to make they have to make a vaccine from the information. Yep. They didn't actually get the vaccine; they just got information on it.
Yeah. So the toxin that they grabbed from the previous research site was incomplete. It killed the male creatures; it didn't kill the female creature. Which is why we're going to the next scene. They have to go and pick up a female creature, which they almost fuck up too. Like. They were like, Chris Pratt had to jump out of the helicopter, which she expressly told him not to, just to save them from getting eaten again, because, like, fucking, there's too few people in the future, and they can't not fuck up these missions, I guess.
Yes.
Like, half of the people they send down to grab the female get eaten. Like, it's just, it's a shit show.
Remember before, like, he jumps out of the helicopter, too? It's like, that's when they have the conversation about him dying. And she's like, I can't tell you about that. The less I tell you, the better. Which, like, And then
Then
like
then she tells her.
then she tells him like the scene after he saves her from the aliens. It's
Yeah,
just like, oh, all right.
it was like a fucking quest in a video game. You just had to unlock the dialogue tree.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. He didn't finish. Yeah, he didn't finish up the line of the quest line. Uh,
Yep.
and like that's when they sort of have all this bonding time, and it's like it's kind of cool because it's like yeah, she's a good actress, and
Daddy daughter science time.
yes, it's $90 science time, and it's like oh well, where did you go? Did you go to whatever the hell like
Cal State.
Cal State? And it's like oh I went to MIT, and it's like I'm
Yeah.
so fucking proud of you, god damn it.
Dude,
And then,
it was dumb, but it was low key so cute. Like he was saying words like enzyme, like see I know science words too, and she's like, you're cute. I have a PhD. You have what? A bachelor's. It was great. I loved it.
well, you gotta think Walter White helped her make the serum,
Yeah,
the crack to kill all of these aliens.
yeah, it was great.
So yeah,
It was-
this high school like biology teacher,
Yeah.
developed the serum.
helped her do science. Daddy
Yeah.
daughter science time.
I think I remember like in the like the advertisement too. There was like some kind of like it was like the only thing that's important in the future is like science or something weird like that. I don't know why I remember that. I don't know. If
Yeah,
that's-
this whole movie had a hard on for science.
It definitely
Um,
did. Yeah, it had like an environmentally friendly sort of message
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, it was a little bit about global warming. Like it was like be careful what you thaw out during the ice. We'll get to that whole ice thaw scene anyway, but like yeah, it was kind of like a sciencey
Oh,
conscious.
you forgot! I forgot to mention too. Like before we continue, the dude, the military dude who like was in that building, like
Mhm.
remember he has the whole like memento like scene where he grabs like a brick or something stupid. He's like, all right, it's a brick. I'm gonna take it. It's like, you can't do that. You're ruining the timeline. Shit. Maybe this wasn't the good moment to reveal that, but it kind of basically comes into play later on in the movie, even though it's like a very insignificant foreshadow.
Yeah, yeah. Bring it up when it's. Well, as I said, I don't. How is that a foreshadow? Like, what did it foreshadow?
So it is a foreshadow, and I'll bring it up once we get to that part.
Okay. But yeah. So, where are we? So yeah, they have daddy daughter science time.
Yes.
After they've captured the female alien. By the way, so like I feel like the power scaling on these aliens was all over the place. Like, they're barely hurt by like weapons fire at the beginning of the movie, and by the end of the movie, he's like doing hand to hand with one of them. Like, it just didn't make any sense. Shit was all over the place. But like it was nuts. Like they were shooting him with rifles, they were barely being hurt. But anytime someone wanted to look cool, they pulled out like a 9mm, and that was killing them. It was just like okay,
Yeah,
like what?
yeah.
Like what are these aliens? Like oh man, it was nuts. Just all over the place in power scaling. But yeah. So they experiment on the female. They find a toxin that kills the female. Why they don't kill the female immediately with testing the toxin, I'll never understand.
Yeah,
But
that was
because,
weird.
yeah, but because the female's there, she killed all the males from like everywhere around, and their base gets invaded by like 1,000 million aliens. And they're basically all fucked. So yeah, that starts like the basic like the end of like the middle act
Of movie
scene.
one.
Yeah, movie one. It's basically the end of movie one, where they're trying to escape with the toxin onto a helicopter.
Oh, Yes, yeah, try to escape with the helicopter.
Where they're going, I have no idea, considering that seemed like their last base, but
Well,
whatever.
right. Well, I mean, remember, this is when the daughter eventually reveals to him her plan, which was,
Yep.
we were never going to make it. You were our only hope. You have to take this back to the timeline so you can retroactively stop the alien invasion from happening. And so basically, it's like a suicide quest to kill the timeline to save another timeline.
Yep. Yeah, essentially she's given up on her own timeline.
Yeah, she gave up, and then she, basically gets eaten by aliens, and this is the very
Yeah, so they have this like some fucking cinematographer like jizzed his brains out over
for sure, yeah.
like a scene where like she's falling into like a tower of aliens and like he dives down to like save her just before he gets like teleported out to his own scene, to his own timeline.
Yeah, and the aliens are like stacking on top of each other just to like eat this one girl.
Just to eat this one girl, like it was, oh my god. Like of all the cinematographic wankery. But yeah, I mean it looked cool, but it was like the scene didn't make any sense if you had to stop and think about it.
The second best scene in the movie.
Yeah.
The first, well, I don't not like in order, but like the other one was the pool scene, which was pretty neat.
Yeah.
But they showed that scene twice, by the way. Once at the beginning of the movie, and then again once it happened in the timeline of things happening.
Oh yeah.
It was like literally the beginning of the movie is them showing one of the best scenes, and they're like, "Well, how'd I get into this sticky situation?"
Oh my god, yeah! They did it!
And then the movie starts.
They did do that. Oh my god, I'd forgotten. It was like that. It's like that fucking Rick and Morty episode when it's like cut to 1 week early.
Yeah,
like the Purge episode. But yeah, no, it was the shows. Oh god,
well, I mean, so to explain some things too is like, so this explains why. So she knew that like she had picked her dad, like that's why he had gotten randomly drafted, and like
maybe
yeah.
I never tracked that, but yeah.
So this is what I pieced together, just by thinking about the movie. This is what I think. I think that she drafted him, like that's why he got randomly drafted and randomly picked. I think she had like a line about it or something like that, and then like when they had the daddy-daughter time, and then there was another scene where when he's like at the beginning of the movie, he's like trying to get this job. He's like, I'm gonna get that job. I'm like I'm goal, like I got it. And then they call him. They're like, oh yeah, you're not getting the job all of a sudden. I think that was like part of it as well. It was all like everything starting to like set up him going into the future. But that's what I think. That's probably a hard guess though. I don't.
Yeah, I don't know if it went that deep, but like it was definitely weird that like he was drafted and then he finds out that the leader of the team he's on is his daughter.
Well, I don't
like some of that does feel intentional. I agree.
She's also metagaming because she tells him how he dies. Which is like,
oh yeah, she'd fully on board with changing the timeline at this point.
Yeah,
I mean, granted, the fact that they're even interactive with the past changes the timeline, so it's an entirely new timeline.
Yeah, I mean, like they basically like can kind of converge timelines, but I mean, it was just stupid. It was like it was a whole lot of shit, and we didn't even mention J.K. Simmons' character at the beginning of the movie. It's so many different.
Oh, when he calls him Conspiracy Santa, I love that scene.
Yeah. Well, no. Like at the beginning when. Oh wait, is it Conspiracy Santa? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Conspiracy Santa went like at the beginning.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
I thought that might have been at the end, but anyway, like basically he has a small part in the movie. But so it's like there's so many small little threads that you're like probably more than halfway done with the movie, and now they're gonna bring it all together.
Yep. Give me like 2 seconds. I gotta go help my parents bring stuff in.
All right. Yeah. Why don't We'll take a quick break.
Yeah, take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Ah, all right. How the parents doing?
Good, good. They just had me bring some stuff in.
All right, man.
Okay. So yeah, we back in live.
Yeah, we're live.
Okay. Um, yeah. So they get back to the present. With the toxin, with the completed toxin. So like, you would think the movie's over, right?
Yeah.
And then it becomes like an entire separate movie. It's like the movie has its own DLC.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It definitely is DLC movie.
Um, like they get back. He's got the toxin in his hand. You would think, okay, like yes, the aliens might pop up 30 years in the future, but now we have the perfect weapon to defeat them. But no, he decides personally that's not good enough. So they go on this whole separate side quest where they're like, okay, I don't want my daughter to have to go through this entire war and bullshit and all this other stuff. So we're gonna find the aliens before, uh, they appear in the 2030s or whatever.
Yeah.
Uh, so then there's the entire stupid plot line of him going to like uh Volcano Kid and like basically finding out he basically
We have
he
to
goes
remember
to
that the mom, like, when they don't know exactly where the aliens landed.
yep, yeah, so basically they go talk to dude who has an alien claw, like the grizzled alien war veteran. Um, find out he has like 6 months to live, so that's why he always goes on these missions to fight aliens in the future. It's because he has cancer, and that's what he found out about him when he went to the future the first time. So they borrow his claw, find out there's like ancient volcanic dust on the claw, which leads them to figure out that like, well, the aliens must have been here all along during some volcanic eruption that happened way in the past. So they go to the Volcano Kid and was like, oh yeah, it must have been this eruption, yada yada yada, occurring in Siberia. So like, okay, the aliens are in Russia. So hilariously, they're like they go to like literally the military liaison for the whole war, and he's like, bro, the world's about to fall apart because we stopped having contact with the future. I can't spend taxpayer dollars on this one mission that might save the entire time. Like what?
Yeah, it doesn't
Like,
make any fucking
are you
sense.
kidding me? I was like, oh, I can't spend money on that. It might solve the whole problem before it starts, but
One
you can't.
conversation.
Yeah.
Like it's like a like not it's like not even 5 minutes that they're talking to each other. He's like, nah, I ain't gonna pay for that. It's just like,
That's literally the dumbest thing I've ever
I
seen.
guess we'll have to do it ourselves.
Yeah, so like if you want to take like the log view, like maybe this whole movie is like an analogy for global warming, and like that's kind of the joke is that like no one wants to spend money on like fucking shit that we need, even though it would save lives.
Yeah.
But like it was literally the dumbest. It was one of the dumbest scenes in the movie. Like they spent like $1 million per death on sending people into the meat grinder of the future, but they can't spend like a couple thousand just to send people to Russia to check out the whole thing that would solve all of their problems.
Yeah, which mind you, they no longer have to send those people into the future anymore.
Yeah,
And so, you know, they don't have to worry about that budget. And the government knew. They must have known the kind of shit that people were going through. And like how shit of a plan this whole thing was in the first place.
yep.
But
Meanwhile, this guy who has the toxin, like he's proven that he's effective in the field, brings them a good plan about, oh, we can find the aliens before they hatch and take them out. But he's like, nope, don't, can't spend time. It's just
can't happen.
stupid, idiotic, idiotic.
Don't think about it. Don't
But
don't think.
yeah, so just as stupid, these guys decide to take it into their own hands. and go to Russia themselves. Which I guess, well, I mean, if no one else is doing it, I mean, you have 30 years, but if no one else is doing it, might as well go yourself.
Right.
They go to Russia. They find the ship, and rather than like sending anybody back, radioing for help, sending some type of flare that if maybe all of us get killed, we found where the aliens are, so you can bomb them out of existence. They're like, nope, I ain't got that kind of time.
Right? Yeah. Yeah.
I gotta
go. Yeah, they have proof. They have actual proof, and they do have time. They have proof. They have time to go and like get the whole war funded. They have time to like get more people to fuck all these aliens up,
Yep.
and you know, and they're like, nope, let's do it right now. Why? Because this is fucking epic.
Yeah, it was the most like just idiotic, ballsy, foolhardy thing they could have done. And hell, like 3 of the aliens escaped the ship. Like they almost fucking like not only did they wake the aliens up 30 years early,
Yes,
but they almost like blew the whole mission up by having the aliens escape,
I'm not
including
gonna lie.
including the queen.
I'm not gonna lie. At this point in the movie, I was like, "Oh shit, are they the reason why the aliens like got free in the other timeline?" And I was like, "Oh, because that would make sense. It's like they did all this dumb shit, and they, thinking that they were gonna save us, but they're the actual cause."
You're half wondering if it's like, well, did you guys just fucking start this shit to begin with?
Right.
I mean, just stupid.
Yeah, it's dumb shit. And mind you, like these are all. Okay, so I don't even fully understand this, but the people that traveled, like that were from the future, are now in the regular timeline. Because
the original kids, the original people that had traveled back to the past during the soccer game and stuff like that are still there.
Yeah, they're like the people, yeah, and so like they were all there, and like they're still there, and they were the people that like had gotten the serum made, but how, I don't know. It just happened. It just
they made more of the serum, but like the other like this movie it makes you just ask like so many questions mentally and be like, just why was this a decision made? But like, so they get onto the ship. They find out that like it was basically a crew of like smart aliens that were transporting the dumb aliens that ended up becoming the white spikes, like probably as some type of like biological warfare weapon. But like, rather than like immediately blowing the ship up now that they found it, or injecting the queen, they're like, let's just start injecting them at random and see what happens.
They literally just start fucking with shit.
Yeah, so of course, like, all of the aliens on the ship start waking up, because I guess there's some type of, like, mechanism that wakes them all up.
Mind you, this is some kind of an arc of some kind, like a war arc, and they're just like, yep, you know what? We didn't even scope this whole place out. Might as well just start fucking with shit.
Yeah, there's literally, like, probably maybe hundreds, if not thousands of aliens on that ship.
You never actually see the actual size of the spaceship itself. You don't know how big it is. You don't know
it's half buried in ice, yeah.
You don't know how many aliens there are. You're just supposed to assume that it's a small group. Like, I don't know. It just seemed really silly.
Yeah, but thanks to Mr. Suicide Man, he decides to blow up the ship with the C4 that they've planted so far. Not that they've even planted enough C4 to know that they blew up the whole ship, but we're just going to assume they did.
They just say in like one sentence, "Are you sure it's going to be enough?" And they're like, "Yes, it's going to be enough."
Yep. It's like, well, if he's convinced, we'll take him. But yeah, so
military cancelman, yeah.
Yeah, the one guy who had cancer and one of the people from the future decide to valiantly sacrifice themselves to blow up most of the aliens, minus the queen, which was like, you couldn't have just, like, why did you even bring the toxin? Like, why didn't you just blow up the ship from the beginning and, like, safely got off? Like,
Yeah,
there didn't need to be any of this dumb
the,
heroic shit.
the toxin didn't even wind up killing the queen. Well, it did. Okay, it kind of did.
It didn't.
Like, it took a couple of goes, and also, if it was the queen toxin, they never talked about it killing males. Like,
Yeah, so the queen toxin kills both.
okay, all right, fair enough. That's right. Yeah, and then like, wasn't it the other girl from the future? She's like, I can hold them off, and then she clearly cannot hold them off. Like,
Yeah, well, I mean that's the thing. It's like the dude had to blow himself up with the ship to even give them a chance, and it was like, this was the worst planned mission I think I've ever seen.
yeah, all because they showed up and they're like, all right, should we go back and get help? Nope. All right, well, I guess we'll, like, if we fucking die, we die. And
But
so
it's not even they die. If they fuck up, they've doomed the human race.
yeah, but all because they're selfish in their own motives. They forego the rest of humanity. They risk foregoing all of humanity.
Like, they don't even send up a flare and be like, "We found this ship." Like, release proof online, something. Like,
Yeah.
make sure there's a cleanup crew of some kind, just in case you fuck up. But no, we're just gonna go in raw. Hope
Yeah,
for the best.
yeah. Um, yeah, and then, like, okay, so yeah, so basically, there was the other thing that was kind of confusing was like, okay, so was there only 5 of them? Let me think. So
I think there were maybe like 10 of them. I didn't
there,
put them on it.
so like other people just randomly died, I guess, because it was like, there must have been only 5 because it was like J.K. Simmons, the dude, I don't even know his name, the guy who like pretty much didn't have to be in the movie, who had
The black comedian who just shows up to make jokes.
is he is he the comic relief?
He was the comic relief.
Okay, so yeah, all right, so that dude, I honestly, I mean, he was cool, but like, they didn't do anything with him. He didn't have to be in the movie. They did shit.
He was comic relief. He was the comic relief. He was the comic relief who talked about science sometimes. I don't know. He was a comic relief.
Like, you would think, okay, so how about this? What if, instead of just having him be the comic relief, what if he actually helped them make the serum? Because that would make fucking sense.
Yeah,
right?
no, he was just a comic relief.
He was like, so he disappeared halfway through the movie. He was just gone.
Yeah, he said he hid. They tried to like redeploy him, and he hid somewhere, I guess.
Oh, I thought that he was hiding while they were fighting when all the alien swarm attacked the freaking...
No, remember he used the fucking jaws of life to like cut one of the aliens' heads in.
Yes, later. So like when everyone was trying to escape before the whole thing blew up. And right. Anyway, that dude, like, he could have. I don't know if he was like filming that other werewolf movie while this was happening, but it seemed like he didn't have to be in it. I mean, I know he was like supposed to be comic relief, but he could have been a more important character.
Agreed.
Like, he really didn't, like, yeah, again, he just didn't do anything. And then I
thought he was funny. Like, I enjoyed him.
What was the?
But yeah, it wasn't immediately necessary.
Okay. So what was the funny thing that he did? He did like he said something kind of quippy when
he was talking about being nervous in the first scene where he was like, "Oh, I just talk when I'm nervous," and he kept talking throughout the meeting when they were.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, they're about to be a pussy though, and I mean.
Well, that's what his arc was. So at the end, he gets to do something badass by like chopping one of the aliens' heads off with a big saw.
Yeah, but like, I still don't respect the fact that he didn't have a fucking loaded gun. Like,
Oh yeah. He fucked up the loaded weapon thing. Yeah,
he
that
didn't
was
even
really
load his
funny.
gun. He didn't load his gun. Okay.
Yeah.
So when the other aliens were trying to escape, he didn't load his gun, which is why he had to use the chainsaw. But the other dude, J.K. Simmons, had the 50 cal. He was like,
Yep.
picking them off, and I thought for sure that they were dead because when Chris Pratt had was running out of the building as it was exploding, they just weren't there.
Yeah, what the fuck? Okay, so that brings up another dumb scene in the movie. There's a scene where fucking J.K. Simmons should have been dead. Like the
Yes.
alien was charging straight for him, and Chris Pratt tackles it. He fucking tackles it. The things are supposed to be like fucking
Yes.
3 times the size of a human. Like, what the fuck is like a 185-pound man tackling it gonna do?
Well, okay. So first of all, family. So this is where this is where it's gonna come back to Fast and the Furious, my friend.
Oh my god.
Just like in the last Fast and the Furious movie where they were hitting people with cars, Chris Pratt hit an alien with a snowmobile, and it was the power of family that drove him, because that alien was trying to kill his father. Okay,
Stupid.
and like, what was up? Okay, why? What did the black dude? He also disappeared after that scene where he finds them randomly out in the wilderness. The other one ran off or something like that. I think it was the queen, right? So the queen runs off, and then the black dude just disappears straight up. He's like,
I guess he couldn't find it. Like, they've managed to find it, but he couldn't find it because they were following its tracks or something.
well, yeah, but then J.K. Simmons was like, oh, well, I'm good at one thing. Let me help, because J.K. Simmons is former military as well, and he's like a he's like a no like he's basically
shredded grandpa,
absentee dad for Chris Pratt, which was that's the dad's arc. There's so many fucking arcs in this movie, and then so which then commences the duel of J.K. Simmons and Chris Pratt versus an alien.
You mean when they try to CQC an alien?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that shit was so nuts. Shit was insane.
Well, you have to think that the dude, cancerman, military cancerman, a guy who picks up the mementos. The foreshadowing is that he picks up that claw as a memento, and he gives it to Chris Pratt, and that's the claw he uses to sort of
CQC the alien.
CQC the alien, and then CQC seeing the alien, and then they try to use they hit him with a snowmobile. They they throw the toxin at it, and it just basically cauterizes its own wound by biting off its own arm.
That was badass, by the way. That was pretty sick.
Yeah, I was surprised, but still, it still had to bite into its own arm. But whatever, it doesn't matter. So then so then basically it's just those two shooting at it, and I thought for sure one of them was gonna die.
Oh yeah, me too. I really thought J.K. Simmons was gonna eat it.
That was dead for sure. Because he was kind of if he died, it really wouldn't affect the story too much.
Yeah.
And it would have been more of tragedy, I guess.
Yeah.
And then so they're fighting it, right? And then at one point, Chris Pratt takes one of the toxins and he punches it into the alien's mouth.
Yeah, he throws it in the mouth, and she's blind, so she just bites down.
Just bites down, and then he just pushes her off the side of the mountain, and the alien just liquefies.
Go splat. Splat. Yep.
Yes, it just liquefies into a puddle.
Yep.
And then the black dude shows up. I can't remember what he says. He says something. Some kind of quip, and then they saved the world. But
they did barely.
But nobody knows about it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess they tell people at the end Because the government guy tries to take credit for it, even though he's like, no, I'm not sending him. Like he's literally the laziest government guy at the end, but of course he tries to take credit for it.
Politician.
Yeah,
Of course, now
but
that it worked out, he's going to take credit.
but yeah, no, they literally they come inches away from causing the world's destruction again, but they pull it out at the end.
Yes.
So I guess yay for them. They should get some kind of credit. But
Because
goddamn,
the moral of the story is the military does everything half-assed.
yeah, I think everybody does everything half-assed. Like, there's not one single entirely competent party in this entire movie.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe his daughter, who's literally just trying to hold things together.
Well, yeah, she's kind of the only selfless one, but even then she's selfish because she's like, well, I got a metagame because if I bring my dad here, they can make it so he doesn't die in the future, and I get to have my dad as we grow up, and I get to tell him about how my parents get divorced or something dumb like that.
Yep.
And
Maybe, but even like she was the only one that competently did her job, even though her job was to die.
see, you know what else I thought too was like, you remember how she's telling him about like, oh, you became after you came back from the war, you like became distant from mom and me, and then you guys got a divorce or whatever.
Mhm.
And it's like, okay, so it's a long time before the aliens show up. So
Yeah.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. So what? So was the happenings from him going back in time? Like, and seeing her die? Was that like what made him lose touch with the world or whatever?
No, because it's not loop time travel. It's branch time travel. So there's no like a thing in the future causes something in the past to happen, which affects the future. Like, there's none of that.
Like, I have to keep reminding myself that it's kind of like Future Trunks in Dragon Ball.
Yeah, it's the same type of time travel as the Avengers, where anything that happens new is just a new timeline.
Yes, a diverging timeline.
Yep.
All right, that makes sense. But still, he still survived in that timeline too. So it's sort of like, oh, okay. I don't know. I just it seems
In
strange.
the original timeline, he dies in a car accident before the aliens ever even show up.
Oh, that's okay. So I missed that part.
Yep.
I thought she said he got back from the war.
No,
wait,
he
no,
died in an accident.
was that like Special Forces war?
Yeah, that was the original war that he was in. He'd already come back from that in both timelines.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
The reason he got distant is probably because he realized he was always going to be a high school teacher and he was pissed about it. So he like, I think he just leaves the family when he's like just unhappy with his life. But he ends up dying in a car accident, and she resents him for leaving.
Yes, and I think the ending is like literally just them all hugging, and J.K. Simmons getting to meet his granddaughter for the first time.
Yep.
And then I'm like, man, I wonder if they're gonna. I kept thinking, I was like, how would they make a sequel out of this?
I wouldn't want a sequel out of this, man. That movie was such a mess of writing. Like, a sequel wouldn't even be good.
Super messy. That was the most tacked on story. There's so many fucking characters. There's a lot of characters, a lot of backstory, a lot of like. There's like 2 movies smashed into one. With like, I was like, damn, man. Like, I don't know. I kind of feel like they had one like, they could have finished it off at like,
when he came back with the toxin, it could have been over. It easily could have been over.
Yeah.
It would have been a bittersweet ending, but it would have been over.
Right. Yes, and there could have been a second movie.
Yeah.
Then I was like, okay, fair enough. Second movie.
But no, they wanted to do the second movie in this movie.
Yes. Holy shit. It's like, it's even just talking about it with you is exhausting.
Yeah.
Because, like, as we're going, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that plot point. It's like, you could have had, like, way less than this. Like, you could have just made one movie.
This movie could have been a lot more coherent and more streamlined. And it just was not. I don't know if COVID affected the writing. I don't know if they just didn't care. But yeah, the movie was a little all over the place.
Oh yeah, and
I
then
enjoyed it.
yeah,
But it was a little all over the place.
I forgot at the end. That's when you get the Chris Pratt like sounding like he's recording something in his bathroom, like type audio that plays over at the end. Which I mean, if you haven't heard it, you go back and listen to it. It's pretty jarring on how bad it is, uh, but yeah, no, I totally agree. I liked the movie too. That's the thing. It's like as I was watching, I was like, man, this is a good movie. I usually don't like movies like this.
It's a cool movie. Yeah, it's dumb. But it's not Fast and the Furious dumb. It's got other dumb things. It's smart dumb. It blends the perfect amount of like decently intelligent but still kind of stupid.
I am.
Well,
I'll tell you that I'm incredibly like. It's like if somebody, like, you know, read half of a book, to do like a I don't know, like a progress report or something. I don't
book
know,
report, yeah.
book report, and then didn't read the rest of the half, but then just like
Made up
the rest of
yeah.
it.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
it's just like
Yeah, just freestyling.
it's just freestyle in the end, and like that's what it, dude. But at the same time, if I was the teacher reading that
Yeah.
book report, I'd be like impressed on how well they stuck the landing.
Yeah.
Like,
I'd be like, this is like I would be like, like I don't know whether to give you an A just because I was entertained, or you know what I mean? Like it was just, yeah.
yeah, it's like definitely like a B or C, but like
It's
like
like
a
it's like a B minus script, but like an A in execution.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, like like they stuck the like. I'm so impressed on how they took all these fucking tropes, and then at the end, it just all kind of like it's still like there's a whole bunch of holes in the plot, but still,
Yeah,
it's like they still
it's
made
coherently
it, and
it's coherently entertaining.
and it's still pretty original for like a movie with all those same tropes.
Yeah,
It's not a
yeah.
good. It's not
They
a good
smashed
movie.
together a bunch of movies, but like still made it kind of fun and
This
kind of original.
this movie should have been way worse than it is.
Yes, I 100% agree.
It has no right being as entertaining as it is.
Yep.
And like I kind of feel like if you took like probably like Chris Pratt, and that girl, and like anybody who is like, like good in the movie, like I mean,
Yvonne
JK,
Strauss, yeah.
even J.K. Simmons like didn't really have to be in the movie. Like his character could
Yeah.
have been gone and it would have been fine.
Yeah.
And like and all you really need is like Chris Pratt like needing to get back to his family. Even the mom is a good actress. Like she's in
Yeah, Betty Gilpin. She's in Glow.
she's in Glow, which I watched, but I don't know.
Yep.
It's okay. Um,
Yeah, it's only okay. Yeah.
it's like it's good to a point, and then it becomes
It's got a lot of slow, boring scenes which don't really elevate the rest of the material.
well, the whole thing is like I liked any time they were wrestling, but then when it became about like relationships and like that dude, I don't know. It's like exploring his sexuality, and I'm just like, I just don't fucking care. I just want to get like the
Back to the wrestling. Yeah, give me back to the wrestling.
Yeah, give it back to the wrestling because everything else is like fucking stupid, and like it felt like it was a soap opera with like that like could have been something like Breaking Bad or some shit, but it just never quite stuck the landing, and the main character is like I just don't respect her.
Yeah, unlikable Allison Brie, which is kind of surprising because I like Allison Brie.
Yeah, she's a great actress, but like, there's something.
They made her very unlikable in Glow, which I guess she was supposed to be, but it was kind of it was a little disappointing.
Like I just didn't care about like there's so many characters I just didn't give a shit about. But anyway, it's kind of the same thing with this movie. Like, so many characters you could have taken out. Other characters, like, they had somewhat of a decent purpose. And, like, even Chris Pratt wasn't even that good. Like, you could switch Chris Pratt out with fucking anybody. And, I mean, any decent actor. Like it could have been Bradley Cooper. It could have been, you know what I mean? It could have been anybody. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think it would have been as good if they switched him out with Bradley Cooper. Like I liked him where he was, but
Okay,
it was definitely like a smash of together of a bunch of different.
fair enough.
You still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
I can't hear you.
Can't hear me?
I'm gonna let me log out of the lounge and log back in.
Test, test.
Maybe I don't know.
Well, we can just wrap this up.
Did my audio go out? Out.
Can you
You
hear?
back? Oh, yeah, I can hear you. Okay.
Okay, cool. Um, but yeah, I see what you're saying. So like, maybe it couldn't have been.
Like I think Bradley Cooper is a better actor, but there's something about Chris Pratt's charisma factor and charm, and his like he's still Andy Dwyer. He's still kind of a lovable goofball.
See, my whole
that
problem is that I've never actually watched Parks and Rec, so
okay.
I don't have that frame of reference.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think he kind of brings a lovable little goofball charm to everything he kind of does, and I think Bradley Cooper would have played it more straight. And I think this movie's comedic elements were pretty solid. I definitely think they helped the movie more than they hurt the movie, even though they didn't need to be there. Like the movie could have taken itself more seriously, but it didn't need to be a better movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like as I said, I think Chris Pratt could have definitely put a little bit more juice into the acting. But it was still good. As I said, this movie gets like a B plus from me.
Yeah, I'd say it's like a I'll give it a B. I don't think it's as I think Black Widow is a better, more coherent story. Like the tomorrow.
It makes you ask less questions. Black Widow certainly makes you ask less questions.
Yes, like Black Widow is just like I'm kind of disappointed. But
Yeah.
the Tomorrow War is like, what the fuck happened here?
Yeah, Tomorrow War was nuts.
Like, dude, did you just not proofread your script? Like, why did it have like? You could have cut so many things out if that movie was like if the movie was like a half an hour shorter.
Yeah,
I think it would have been a lot better. Especially just fucking that and like the two movie thing is like it's unreal.
yeah.
But yeah, man. Overall, I think both of them are worth watching, like on a Sunday. You know, chilling out. But I definitely wouldn't go to the movies to see either of one of these.
Yeah, I wouldn't have wanted to pay money to see either of these. That's why I was really happy that Tomorrow War was like just an Amazon shit that my parents already have Prime, so it was just like, just turn on watch it. But yeah, I wouldn't have gone to theaters to see either of these movies. Well, no, I would have because I'm a Marvel mark. So I would have gone to see Black Widow, even though I would have bitched about it after I saw it.
Yeah, okay.
But
Like,
yeah,
I think Black Widow might have, like, if it was a TV show.
yeah.
I don't know. I think I could have done just as well.
I think Black Widow would have been better as a TV show. Honestly, you could have made it more of a slow burn spy thriller,
Yeah.
than what it ended up being, which was basically an action movie that had the word spy in it.
Yeah.
But it's whatever. It's good. It's kind of it's sad that the last movie that we'll see Natasha Romanoff in couldn't have been better, but yeah, it is what it is.
Remember, everything, like, anything is possible.
Yeah, with the multiverse, anything is possible. But like
Like, they can bring back, they can literally bring back anybody.
they could, but I don't. I think Scarlett Johansson said she was done, and like, I mean, I respect that. It's
She
just
looked
like
done throughout that whole damn movie.
she did. She looked like she was just there to collect that paycheck.
Definitely did, man. She had no passion. Like, unlike that movie with her and Kylo Ren, where they're arguing.
Marriage Story, yeah. She looked like she had fun with that.
They got memed to No Tomorrow.
Yep.
Um,
But yeah. But yeah, as I said, I would give it if I had to give Tomorrow War a rating, I'd give it like a 7 or 8 out of 10. I found it entertaining as hell. It was silly. It was dumb at some parts, but it stuck the landing in terms of entertainment.
yeah, I think both of them are like pretty mediocre. Worth like a rental, weekend rental or something. But I mean, even
Yep.
though that's not even really a thing anymore.
Not in this day. No more movie gallery.
Wait, I would
No more
say
blockbuster.
wait till it's they're both discounted.
Yep.
And
Agreed.
then have some beers and then get some stupid kicks out of some stupid movies and have
Yep.
fun. And
Beers and snacks.
yeah, just don't think about the plot. But anyway, man, what do you think?
Yeah, you wanna
If we should
so
wrap
yeah,
it up?
yeah, do you wanna wrap up? Do you wanna talk about any gaming news this week? I'm good for going for like 50 more minutes, but if you want to wrap up, I'm also good.
Yeah, I think 2 hours is a good amount of time. It's actually about to hit 3, so
Yeah, I
uh,
think we really had fun with the Tomorrow War review. We kind of went in for a while. So.
dude, that movie. Well, the thing is, that movie is it was fun. I would say
Yeah.
that is a good description of the movie. I think if I was a kid, I wouldn't be able to appreciate it because I would take it too seriously.
Mhm.
Um, but I mean, I was like up cleaning my room at like 5 a.m. or something, 4 a.m. or something, and I was just watching it. And I was like, you know what? This is way better than it has any right to be. But
It is. It
uh,
was. It definitely was.
but yeah, maybe we'll for all you know, we might come back and do another podcast
Yeah,
and do something else.
let's do Space Jam for a week for one of these upcoming weeks.
Yeah, man, I would love to review Space. I was honestly, I was looking. I really wanted to watch the Werewolves Within and
I'm down to do that with you. That
Space
or
Jam.
Fear Street. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Space Jam both like looks like it could be a train wreck though.
That's why I want to review it.
Yeah, yeah, and then I mean,
Because I don't think it'll stand up to the original.
obviously, nothing is ever going to be as iconic as the first Space Jam movie.
This is true. This is also true.
That movie is like way better than it has any right to be.
It is. It was a gem that came out at the perfect time, and it was just the perfect blend of like cheesy but serious.
Sir, if you have not, have you gone to the Space Jam website?
It's like still like it was from the '90s, right?
Yes. It's still
Yeah.
like made with old internet architecture. If you haven't seen it, it's literally like walking into a museum.
Damn, I might have to check that out today.
But yeah, guys. So we'll let you guys know. I'll probably be posting whenever we find out the next time we're going to do one of these podcasts and talking about some movies and what we're going to talk about. It might be like 2 days before, it might be a week before, who knows. So, guys, I will catch you later, and thank you for watching.
Thank you.
All right, peace out. Bye bye.